happening once again. It is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'll be here with you until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 12 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. Also the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, we say a special good night to each and every one of you. All of you listening to us directly in Grenada, we say a special good night to you. And those of you listening to us outside of Grenada, we say good night to you as well. Hope everything is going all well and okay for you. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I think no, that's not it. That is it here? All right, nice. Let me see if we get it here. And I think we have it, yeah, getting close to it there. Right, yeah, you know, we can only settle it when we actually start to speak on, eh? Yeah, that's the only time we actually could hear it. So we're making sure here. Now pull that back a little bit so. And I think we nearly got to go there, eh? Nice, yeah.
This whole experience had me intrigued.
Well, you know how much I like that song, you know. Let me say a special good night to those of you joining us via 91.9, 91.5. Hope that you all are having a fabulous night tonight. Those of you joining us via Facebook. Those of you joining us via YouTube.
I went to a social party one day. The big jump group was down to play.
Yeah, let me check out who is joining us via YouTube and Facebook, eh?
There in a corner, I'm waiting for me chance to get in this center. The bass just start to beat, and then the cut just slam a note. This time a woman gone in the ring, and she start to do she thing. Tell me how, this is someone I never see. Tell me how, tell me how.
Someone is saying they can't hear me. I'm not sure if it is on their end.
This is someone I never see. Tell me how, tell me how. Oh Lord, the action getting real hot. You know the people, they want to stop. I see a woman pushing her way through the crowd. Suddenly her voice started getting loud. The bassman saw the move. He hit a note and she got in groove. You should see that woman there in the ring. But she started to do she thing. Hamsa wele, hamsa wele, hamsa wele, hamsa wele, hamsa wele, hamsa wele. I jump up. Do your thing. Ah, yo, viola, viola, yo, viola. Ah, yo, viola, viola, yo, viola. Ah.
Let me see. I hope that you all can hear me much better now. Yeah, I'm hoping that you all can hear me much better. Yeah. 1, 2. Yeah, just making sure. I was just making sure you all could hear me much better. I think this should be much more clean. Yeah, I had to switch off main mic. Yeah, I actually have a backup mic. So I had to switch off main mic and go to mic 2. Yeah, because some people are telling me they're hearing me very low. They're not hearing me properly. So I hope that you all are hearing me better now. Let me know. Hit me a message. Let me know if you're hearing me much better now. Yeah, because I do work on it over the weekend, but I can't really hear it properly until I go live. Eh? Yeah, it's a totally different system. So how it's set up is different to the main studio system. So I am setting up a second studio, and so I still have the little challenges here and there, but I'm hoping that we get it proper, you know? Yeah.
Good Lord, it's time now that I should leave. This whole experience had me intrigued. I can't believe.
So are you all hearing me much better now?
This little island have a reach.
I'm hoping that you're hearing me better now. Yeah, hit me a message. Send me that message. Hit me a message now.
and then rule the ring. Tell me how, you tell me how. I says I wanna never see, tell me how. I tell me how. Dirty, I jumma. You tell me how, you tell me how. I says I wanna never see, tell me how. I tell me how.
Yeah, I think I'd rather stay with mic 2 instead of mic 1. Mic 1 giving too much echo here. Raphael! Hope everything is going all well and okay with you, bro. Yeah. Yeah, you all will hear an echo because I'm in a room that is not padded and so on. So you all will hear an echo in between. But there will be an echo because of the room that I am in. So you all will be hearing an echo in and between, yeah. Just making sure that you all can hear me. That's the main thing, yeah? Once you can hear me. And we will be having a guest on with us tonight. We will be having Senator the Honorable Roland Cox. He will be on with us tonight. I know why when I look at the Facebook, the first person name I fall on is Merrill. Merrill, good night to you. And let me say a special good night to you. Let me see who's there. James Arnold on the Facebook. James Arnold, Cynthia Collins, Olive McEwen, Betty James, John Mark, good night to you. Wendy Ann C. McGuire, Nursey, good night to you. And Winnie Simon, Wallen Aquat, Leroy St. Paul, Nessa St. Clair, Teresa Gill, Yvonne Courtney, I see Enid Kokoto, good night to you, my dear. Hope you're having a wonderful one. And Esther Peters, Mr. Augustine, good night to you. Sherry Lambert, Maureen Samuel, good night to both of you. McLean Mitchell, good night. Enoch Bain, good night to you. And let me see who's there. Elizabeth Douglas, Betty Marie Venter, good night. Sweet Empress Cyrus, good night to you. And Shapes Houston, Samantha Day, Joe Ad, yeah, good night to you. Joe, what's up, what's up? And let me see who else is there. Etta Batiste, and I see Kamita. Good night to you, good night to mommy, good night to the entire Hope Circle. Let me see, somebody was calling me, somebody was calling her. People are calling her, taking the call, and taking it. People are calling her, taking the call. Let me call, remember you can only call on the WhatsApp. Yeah, you can only call because we are not in the original studio, we are in a second studio, and that we have not set up phone lines, and so yet is a technical kind of thing. So we have not been able to set up that yet. Get me die! And the entire family, good night to you all. Teresa, yeah, good night to you. And over on the YouTube, let me see, the YouTube people does always get better than the Facebook. You know, yeah, what, tonight, good night to everybody on YouTube. Remember to like and share. What's he doing that likes, man? Yeah, like and share. Remember to like and share. It ain't hit 100 yet, but it's okay. Hey, it ain't hit 100 likes yet on the YouTube. Come on, let me fix that. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. Let us fix that. All right, here, let us fix that. Nice, yeah, we have to be up to 100 there. What kind of thing going on with it? Nice. Yes, indeed, folks. So several things. Oswald Belfont, you see them YouTube people. Oswald Belfont, good night to you, and Ron Julian, Gillian Noel, Venus John, Jocelyn Madison, Marilyn Panchu, Casimir Thomas, Fitzroy Edwards, Moko Joseph, Kathleen Knights, Ruth Chitterman, Moko Ben, Nice Springs people, Fitzroy Edwards, Kathleen Knights, I see Jerome Kenneth, Louis, Dominic in the house. Michelle Alexander, Jacques Kim, good night to you and the family, bro. Anne-Marie Dick, and Kathleen, I see you there, Kathleen. Jackie Raymond, Casimir, Pastor, good night. Cicely Celestine, Bernadette Joseph, Shajan, Shaw, good night. Karen Spice Fitness, good night to you. Red Girl Pascal, Rena Zodi, Natisha Joseph, Anastasia Buckmeyer, Jefferson Hagley, Jay, Listra Abraham, Jillian Williams, Rachel Williams, good night. Amanda Moses, good night to you. Antonito, a special good night to you. And Andrea Burke, Fitzroy Edwards, Veronica Lewis Alexander, Dalton Tron, Fitzroy Edwards, Anastasia Buckmeyer, Tyrone Marcel, Joyce Lewis, Christine Otley Sky, Joycelyn Francois, Cindy Thomas, Andrew Grant, Sherma, good night to you, Sherma Jeremiah, you and Zayla, baby, that day, good night to you. And Anastasia, I see you up there, nice, Christine Alexander, Adrian Watts, good night to you and your lovely wife. In fact, don't forget you tonight, Adrian. Good night to your wife. I'll say good night to you tomorrow night. Nice JJ, auntie. Jerome Samuel, good night to you. John Stafford, Anna Lewis, Dolores Redhead, April Fletcher. Good night to you, April. Deborah Laborde, Stephanie John, good night to you, and Tati and your husband, the Tower Home Circle, and Faith and Nally Douglas, Fitzroy. Fitzy again, Fitzy, how much time you post on that? Gavin Thomas and Francis George, Ruth Chitterman, good night to you. Velma Pascal, and of course, Phyllis Mitchell, the first person to post tonight, Phyllis Mitchell. A special good night to each and every one of you. Hope that you all are having an absolutely fabulous night tonight, yeah? And folks, we're gonna get into one or two things quite quickly tonight before we get Senator Cox on with us. I'm just trying to pull up here, right, the promos, right? Remember, this Sunday, yes, Sunday coming, it's going to be the brunch, yeah? This Sunday coming, it's going to be the brunch, the new National Party. I have so much mouse in front of me, they like have a mouse infestation, yeah. NNP New York Support Group, they're having their brunch. It's the annual brunch, and that's going to be taking place this Sunday, Sunday coming, eh? Not the Sunday after this one, but the Sunday that's coming in a few days, right? This is coming up, so, wait, watch here, you stay in the corner, nice, right? So they're going to be having West Indian food, music, dance, meet and mingle. Starts from 10 a.m. until, and that's going to be at 302 East 91st Street between Lenox and Clarkson Avenue. Donation only $30. Music by DJs Jude and Small Clothes. For more information, contact Kathy, and I'm going to bring up Kathy's number there for you, 347-262-6818. Wendy, 917-602-1476. And Aisha at 917-520-3164. All right, so looking forward to seeing you all there. Even if I might be there in person, I'll be there in spirit. You never know, let's get there in person too. That kind of man. Next week, not this week, Saturday. Next week, Saturday. Hey, my good friend out on the cruise ship. Good night to you, watch. One of my listeners out on a cruise ship there. The man, make sure you check it early. You want to make sure talking points. Oh, no. All the cruise ship posse, all the people listening on the cruise ship, now the Grenadians and the Filipinos, everybody, good night to you all. Listen, George Northeast NNP Women's Group, good night to you, Mr. Nimrod Oliver, wherever you are. They are having that sauce sale, chicken foot and pig foot sauce. Yeah, that's taking place not this Saturday, so don't get too hungry for it yet. It's taking place next week, Saturday. And that's going to be taking place out there by Nick Shop. Just ask anybody for Nick Shop in Bolio. It's a popular place. And plus, with the way that sauce looking there, you have a lot of people around. You must see where the sauce is. Yeah, Teacher Erica. I might come from a sauce and I'm careful. That's in front of Nick Shop in Bolio, taking place Saturday, the 3rd of May from 6:30 a.m. So that's the new National Party, St. George Northeast Women's Group. They are having their massive sauce sale. That's taking place on Saturday, the 3rd of May from 6:30 p.m. in front of Nick's Shop in Bolio. And remember, next week, Wednesday, that's a special day. It's International Jazz Day. And they're going to be having the International Jazz Celebration taking place at Bay House in Jananglais, Rastacari and Friends and Project Music and Friends and so on. Rastacari! Yeah, for those of you that know it, yes. best watch that man should have been teaching some young people and thing right now. I know what's going on there. Vacancies exist, and until I hear different, my friend, you have to tell me if you get the people enough. Yeah, but in the interim, I'll call 403-4421 instead of one next thing she needs to. All right, call 403-4421. You know somebody that can braid good and so on, with nails and so. Looking for the flow on. Nice, right? Once they're reasonable. And remember the little Kellyanne, yeah? And remember the bank accounts here. That's for Mr. Kelly George at Corp Bank. Account number 107 063 547. And at Nexa Credit Union, Melian Francois. And the number there is 221 553 100. All right, young Kellyanne, she has done the first round of treatment. She has to return for an assessment and the second round of treatment. And the first round of treatment they pay for yet, but the Children's Hospital, they helped out because the situation was good. I didn't even want to go there, but it's a bad situation. So now she has to do a second round of treatment and tests and so on. And the parents need the help. The parents, this is the institution that the National Health Insurance to deal with. The parents need the help. All right, please help. Contact me. I'll put you on directly to the parents. Yeah, if you didn't get the information there, you want to help, you want to contact the parents directly, I will put you on to the parents. So you send it to me to give the parents. I'm putting you on to the parents. It's going directly to them so that they can go with their child. They have to go with in a couple weeks' time. They have to go with them. They need the assistance. All right, folks. Remember, you can call. And let me just make sure this is up here. You can call. Oh, I missed 2 calls, man. Sorry for the callers. Sorry about that. I missed 2 calls there already. So you can call us at 440-7377. But you can call us. And folks, we here at Talking Points would like to extend our sympathy to the Catholic fraternity on the loss of Pope Francis, who passed away yesterday morning, and we'd like to extend our condolences to the Catholic fraternity. I think there's a special Mass at the Immaculate of the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception tomorrow. I think we have a caller online. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good night. What is not here? Oh, yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Something is not working properly. Let me see here.
Right.
This is supposed to be working. Why am I not hearing the caller?
I don't know.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hello, are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Hearing you now. Good, great. Yeah, you go right ahead.
Lovely.
Yes.
I spoke to you last week.
Yes,
How
and you gave us some extremely valuable information that we were very glad to receive, and we look forward to hear if you have more for us today.
Right. First of all, I'd like to have my condolences to Pope Francis. So that's that first one out of the way. Right, you've got a gentleman who is from Carriacou, is that right? On later?
Yes, we will be having Senator Nolan Cox on with us a bit later. Yeah.
Okay, I want to know last year when you had that sent a lot of money and other products and stuff to help your countrymen. I'd like to know where that money has gone, because I know the UK sent a few £1 million to the relief, and America and other countries. Now, with this, I've seen a picture of your 6 prefab houses. I know they were donated to you.
Well, no, actually, these prefab if I'm remembering correctly, have been actually purchased by the government. I don't think these
Right.
are,
Okay. If they were purchased by the
the first set
government,
were donated, but this set I think have been purchased. Yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, to me, what they look like wood, plastic, and aluminium frame. Prefabs back in the UK were made by concrete slabs. So they were bolted together and, they were sturdy. The houses, what I'm actually seeing, they're not, they won't be good enough for your weather. So if your weather, winds come up to 160 miles an hour, they're going to fall apart. And I don't like the way they just put right next to a tip. I think that's quite disgusting because if you put them right next to the tip, you've got all the gases and everything else in front, they smell, and you got the rats and the rodents and everything else. I think whoever put those there don't understand the situation. Plus, with those prefabs, as I said, they usually in the UK were built back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, all made by concrete, and they would be 100% better quality and stand up with the hurricane, and they could be bolted down correctly and everything else. But the houses, what I'm seeing, is not strong enough. You've got your rainy season now, and I feel your government is not thinking about this, because when UK and other countries sent all this aid to you, where is it? I like to know where the money's being spent. I mean, you've got the rainy season coming up very, very shortly, and people are still in tents. People have still got no roofs on. They've got nothing. And I want to know where all this money's going, because, if the people who, countries have sent, I don't know, it's just an example, £10 million, right? Or $10 million. Where's that money going? There's so many people out there are not got a roof over their head, and it's coming to the rainy season.
I don't think much Grenadians are aware of the British government sending millions of pounds regarding hurricane relief. I
Yes.
stand to be corrected, but I don't think much Grenadians. I know we heard of CRIF, and we heard of like regional countries, but I don't think much Grenadians are aware that the British government actually sent millions of pounds.
Yes, they sent some money to the relief, and I'd just like to know where this money's going, because your government is not spending it where it should be. An example, in Grenada, where are the playgrounds for the youngsters? There's no playgrounds for the youngsters to play in. They need to be out and about and, enjoy themselves. There's nothing after school. There's nothing there to the kids to play. So every parish should have at least one playground, so the children can actually go and enjoy themselves and be kids. And what I'm just going to say is that your Prime Minister has signed for flights to come in from Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Have you ever seen any Arabs coming into your country?
Well, if you're speaking about from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, very rare, and it would be a delegation in relation to something or the other, and that's very rare.
That's right.
But to say tourists, average, you don't see that. No.
Yeah. No, you will never see an Arab. Very rare will come over. Now, he's signed a piece of paper to say, flights direct from these countries. It ain't going to happen. Not in a million years.
It's just a piece of
It ain't
paper
going to
because
happen.
nothing.
Because
You're not
Arabs
going to
will
see.
not.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Arabs won't come in to a country where you've got, I'm not being horrible or anything like that. They've got nothing. Arabs come for instance, from England to England, and they will go to 3 major stores: Marks and Spencer's, Harrods, and Selfridges. That's where they spend their money. If you have planes that are coming directly from these countries, you're going to have thousands of Arabs coming in spending millions and millions of dollars, but it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen.
They
So
usually
he
look
signed
for
a
the
piece
high.
of paper. It ain't going to happen.
They usually look for the high-end spending. So they wouldn't come a place where you spend a couple hundred. These guys work with stacks. So
That's
they're
right. They will
spending
spend
millions.
They will go to
Hello?
in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 pounds. They will go to Harrods and spend 20, 30, 40,000 pounds on a watch or a bag or anything like that. So yeah, the only thing they might come into Grenada is to buy the nutmeg. That's about it. They don't drink and everything else. So all this signing is not good enough. It's again, he's putting wool over your eyes.
Yeah, it's just it's
to
symbolic to say that you're doing something when you're out there. It's just symbolic. It's to give the impression that something is being done when he's traveled, but there are ulterior motives to those types of travel that's taking place. It has nothing to do to the benefit of Grenada.
Yeah, well, put it this way: there is no way, it'll be a miracle if it happens. But your prime minister, you don't have freedom of information, so you can go and get all the information. Your opposition ask questions. Do you have a question time, like prime minister's question time in government at all, like we do in Britain?
You don't have the prime minister's question time. I've been to Westminster and I've seen it before, but they don't have it in that form. What they have is that you can submit questions, and both the government side, the opposition side, you could submit questions, and then the ministers who are in the line ministry in relation to that question would have to provide a response. But what this government has been doing is they have not been answering the questions. In fact, I think some 67 questions have been put forward, and the vast majority of them have not been answered by this administration. They're just not answering it.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
Well, in some instances, I believe they're trying to hide information. For instance, a question has been posed 2 years now. A question has been posed in relation to travel. Who are the delegations? Where are they going? The reason, the amount that has been spent, and so on, and the source of funds. They bluntly refuse to answer that.
Well, you can see why. All right. So if you've got a government who's travelling on official business, that's fair enough. But they need to say, well, this is how much this costs. This is this A, B, and C. But it seems to me your country is not doing it correctly. So at the end of the day, when you travel, I was amazed when $8 million was spent on it. That's just boggled me to here to $1 million, but
you can imagine
for
me.
to China.
You can imagine for me.
I don't understand why that kind of money. I mean, just like an example, your independence. He spent $54 million, right, on it. Now, where do you think that money's gone? Think about it.
In that as well,
right,
we've asked questions in relation to it, and again,
now,
those questions remain unanswered.
Insight. I can give you a little bit of insight. What happened is he spent that kind of money to get people from America only, and sent them over to you free of charge. So it was like a raffle. So there was a little stigma, a little catch on it. So you can come over to Grenada, maybe do your voting, register, and then you would have to advertise. When you go back, you would have to advertise Grenada. Now, since this has actually happened, so your independence, right? They spent $54 million on it. So everybody, there was a few planes free coming over, and people were coming over for free.
Well, we did hear of a lot of people coming back in. The mechanism that was used to bring them in, that is something that I think a lot of us are unclear on, outside of the people themselves who had the opportunity to come back into the island. So again, that is
That's
another
right.
question that has been
But
posed, and we have not been receiving answers in relation to it.
well, they gave free flights and free accommodation or half price accommodation, this, that, and the other. I know because a friend of mine actually did that. He came over for free, and he's just promoting Grenada on YouTube and all that other materials. So $54 million to promote. It's not a royal wedding. Yeah, even the royal wedding in the UK cost 50 million pounds to 100 million pounds. You know what I mean? So your geezer is actually spending so much money on promoting your country that there's no need. Why spend $54 million? Why spend $8 million on travel? And he's pulling the wool over your eyes. You can see it a mile away. I'm outside and I can see it a mile away. You got Carriacou, you got the rainy season coming up.
Not meaning to cut you, but we'd have to make it a little shorter tonight because I have Senator Cox waiting on me.
No problem. But can you ask your senator, if you can ask your senator where this money's coming, why hasn't the government getting these people housing up correctly? You're building a wooden housing is a bit, it's not going to stand up to it all that. So I'd just like to know where all this money coming, where is this money putting in? Everything's been coming in, for the hurricane. Where is it? I haven't seen anything with it. So I'd just like to know where, this money is going. Has people houses been built properly, and everything else. That's why I rang in before your gentleman comes on air. So I just want like to know what the money has been spent, if he knows. If not, then we need to try and sort it out from your government to see where it is. That's it.
Yes, indeed.
For the night, anyway.
But we'll speak tomorrow night again because there are one or two questions I want to run by you. So you'll give me a call tomorrow night again.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you so very much.
Have a nice evening.
All right, same
Cheers.
to you.
Adieu. Bye.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah. I now have to try to get Senator Cox in with us. Let me just see if I can pause the music in the background here and see if I can get Senator Cox in with us. Let me see if I can bring that back up for a little bit now. Yeah, while I do that. All right, folks, I think I should have Senator Cox. Are you hearing me? I believe that he is hearing me. Let me see if we can hear him, Senator Cox. Let's try this way, Senator Cox. Hello? Hello? You have turned that off. Let me see. Hello? Hello? I think we have you there. How are you doing, sir? All right, wonderful, wonderful to hear you, man. How is Carriacou and Petit Martinique? Yes, so I'm sorry we cannot bring him on video tonight, but I know it goes with Caribou from time to time. Yes. People like to see the smile, Senator Cox. They like to see the smile. So tonight I had a smile for two of us, and I can't make for you. But just a little one because we had some sad news out of Carriacou yesterday. We had some very sad news, and I think the folks are telling me that they're not hearing, and I'm not sure why. Uh, oh boy, yeah, they're not hearing you. Let me see. Hello, Senator Cox.
Yes, I'm hearing you. You hear me?
Let me see if they're hearing you now. Folks, are you hearing Senator Cox now? Hit me a quick WhatsApp. Let me know if you all are hearing me now, are hearing both of us now, or if you're still only hearing Senator Cox. Because if so, I have to change the machine that I'm using. Okay, they said they're hearing now. Good. All right. Now,
Okay,
now,
one.
now they're
Yeah.
hearing. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah,
Okay, great.
I had down a button there that I should not have had down. Yes. It's when you're using things that you're not accustomed using. Yes, so Senator
It
Cox,
happened.
you did speak and again about the fact that Carriacou is predominantly Anglican and as
And
well
Cap.
as and
Yeah,
Catholic, and you did send out
yeah.
your condolences to the Catholic fraternity on the passing of Pope
The Pope.
Francis.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we were about to move on now to the fact that there was some very sad news coming out of Carriacou yesterday.
Yes,
My young man.
when you have a small community like ours, you get those news, it's so it's so heart wrenching, so heartbreaking, and I really want to extend my deepest condolences to the family. He's a pretty young guy. He has his whole life ahead of him, and it's just so unfortunate and very sad to hear this outcome. So a lot of people is still in shock. I mean, just this evening, I was speaking to some of his classmates and so on, and persons are really, really shaken up by what really transpired. So it's a difficult one, always when once young persons are involved, and it's something that we're very saddened by. I know the police is doing their best to have the matter resolved, and we do have a high crime solving rate in Grenada. So we trust that some things will happen pretty soon in that regard.
Yes, yes, indeed. It's always a sad thing when you see a young person losing their life, regardless of the situation. But to see a young person losing their life, and indeed our condolences from Talking Points do go out to his family, his friends, his associates. Our condolences go out to them all. Moving on to Carriacou and Petit Martinique itself now, Senator Cox. Last week, we had been speaking on the program about the fact that the workers in Carriacou who had been wrongfully, illegally, and vindictively removed from their jobs by the NDC administration, the current administration, immediately after the last general elections. These folks have been vindicated. They have found,
So yes.
they've won their legal matter against the state. What have you been hearing? You're based in Carriacou. What have you been hearing in relation to this particular issue?
Well, I can tell you that No other person is more pleased and happy than I am to hear the results of this matter. And it was something that I spoke on extensively, spoke against in the manner in which it was done without due process in some cases, and the justification that was rendered for issuing termination letters to those workers. I mean, I smile because I am seeing now current workers of the Ministry of Carriacou and Diplomatic Affairs engaging in some of the same practices that those persons was accused of. And I can give an example. If the current political party were to have any function or fundraiser, is some of the same workers in the ministry you see actually participating in those events. I mean, literally organizing and executing those events. Mm-hmm. So it begs the question, why workers were accused and terminated for allegedly for that, and some of those evidence you're seeing taking place now. So that is what is so much, very much hypocritical about it. And another important thing coming out from the judgment was that if somebody was accused of a particular issue or violation, you must give them an opportunity to respond, to say, yeah or nay, that is not the case, and to clear themselves. And that never happened. Persons were just called and said, look, we hear this and we hear that, and this is your letter, and you go home. So I think they seek advice to get some redress to this matter, and that has paid off, and it has really vindicated them. They feel vindicated, that they know that they have not done anything wrong. And I think it's not so much about the issue of persons not wanting the service again, mm-hmm. or the ministry, the government not wanting the service. Is not about that, but it's how it was done. And I think for me, I would have loved for them to get back their employment, to be gainfully employed. That might be the better thing than a one-off compensation. However, I believe that the relationship has gone so far that maybe they may have feel comfortable without not having to go back in the workplace. So, but that is my view. But they may have shared a different view in that regard, mm-hmm. And so that is what really transpired. But there were three particular things that stood out, and I think it's important for the public to understand what really transpired. So based on the law, if you are to terminate someone, their contract, they were supposed to receive 2 months' pay in lieu of the contract, the notice, at the time that the notice was served. Mm-hmm. However, they were only given 1 month pay when they should have received 2 month pay. All right, so they had to get one month was outstanding. Additionally, if you're severing someone, there is a severance pay. So based on the law, they're supposed to receive severance pay. That was not issued and wasn't considered at all for them. I think even the third one, which I think is simple and straightforward, which I think it was just the easiest and the right and proper thing to do, is for holidays that persons would have accumulated. Once you're severing persons, you have to pay them for the holidays that were already on. That is mm-hmm. standard practice. When I resigned from the public service, I had holidays inside, and I was compensated for my holidays. So it's a standard practice. So mm-hmm. I was somewhat lost when...
Whether the public or private sector, that is standard practice. A person is going, you pay them for the holidays.
You pay them for the holidays. That is standard practice. And so they did not receive payments for the holidays. So so those were the three main areas that really stood out based on the whole dialogue. And so they were, and additionally, they were deemed to be wrongfully dismissed. There was no due process. They weren't given no option to seek any response to the alleged accusations. Mm-hmm. Some of the parts of the SRNO that was referred to that was used as a justification to terminate the workers. Yeah, that was not right and proper. So we are happy that they're supposed to receive some compensation. So I only got details of it recently because I learned of it, as you know, on the adjournment when we had the last parliament sitting. There was a budget debate. The member for Labour rose and spoke on the matter, and the Minister for Labour did indicate that the matter was resolved, but she didn't give any details at the time. And so thereafter, I got an opportunity to get some details, so to better understand the judgment and to give some clarity, because it's important. Because it's very easy for people to come and say that you're giving wrong information, you're lying, and all kind of stuff. I mean, I hear it all the time. So I try my utmost best to bring clarity to when we bring those issues forward, so that persons would understand the context and in which those decisions were made and why the decision was made. So we are happy that those persons are indeed vindicated, and I'm certain that they feel comfortable in that regard.
Yes, indeed. My only issue was I believe that they should have been compensated for the period of time, not up to the period in time where they were wrongfully dismissed, but up to the present time. I believe they should have been paid for the last 2 years plus that they have been made to sit at home due to
Yes.
the vindictive nature of what was done. I'm pleased that they have been vindicated, but I'm not pleased with the compensation package. I believe they should
Well,
have
something like, yes,
been
I
gotten
agree.
more.
But something like that would have been more easily, you'd have easily get a result in a court of law instead of you have like a tribunal. So basically, if he had actually gone to the court, then I'm certain that the court would have ruled up to the time of the judgment. But
And I
in
think
that case, yeah.
And I think that's what the government settled for. They knew that had it gone to court, it would have been speaking about hundreds of thousands of dollars for each of these people, because you'd have had to give them the salary, then damages for the
Yeah.
emotional stress and all of that, plus the
Yeah.
holiday pay, plus all the other little bits and pieces that they've got.
Legal cost too.
Yeah,
Legal cost, yeah.
you had to pay the
Yeah.
legal costs. So they took the easy route out and decided, let's settle this, give them
Yeah.
that. If they're willing to accept it, give them that. And that's it. But I'll say one thing to the workers though. Take them to court still in civil court. That's what I'll say to them. Take them to civil court. That's my advice to them. You don't take part in that. Take them to civil court.
I'm not too au fait on the procedure with such, so I can't issue any advice in that regard. Yeah.
Go and find Cadgington, who know one of them with a day, and or Dwight Oswald, or take them to civil court. They're too wicked. So that's the workers. We're glad to know that at least now that this has come to some sort of resolution, and that these workers would be pretty okay. Another issue, quite recently, I saw you made a post in relation to the situation as regards the Windward Jetty and the situation with the people in Petit Martini getting over to Carriacou, still having to go around Gunpoint and go into Hillsborough and so on. That situation with them. Has any work started on the Windward Jetty? They put down a pile, they do anything? Has anything started on that? Because it is a dangerous situation for the folks coming out of PM, the students, the elderly, all the different people. It's a serious situation. What's the latest as obtains regarding that situation?
Okay, well, as recent as yesterday, I haven't seen any sort of a mobilization or any semblance of any preparation for any work. However, I did recall that after I made that post, and before I go into it, there are a number of responses from persons on the issue in some negative way, as if that the issue is just a simple one. It is not. It's a very vexing issue for the people of Petit Martinique, and of course also the Windward community and the persons who trade and the fisher folks. It's a vexing issue. And so I am not too au fait with government's capacity to execute the work now or right away, whatever the case may be. But since December, I think the ministry or the minister himself posted that work will commence on the 15th of December of last year. That's when it should have commenced. However, I mean, I found that time to be suspicious, knowing the budget cycle, knowing being working in the Ministry of Infrastructure for as a minister and understanding the intricacies of government. I didn't want to come out and say that wouldn't happen. That is not realistic. But I just left it so that persons can see for themselves that it just didn't happen. But I could have said that. I could have complained and said that it wouldn't happen. However, after the post, there was this also a further response saying that a contract has been issued for the replacing or rebuilding of a new jetty. Now, while that may be good news, but it also raised some serious procedural concerns for me, which is a common practice that we have seen by this administration since coming to government, where certain projects of a certain size in terms of costs, which supposed to go through the procurement process, and that being publicly tendered and given an opportunity for persons to bid. Mm-hmm. Also, there is an opportunity where you can do sole sourcing, and I'll be fair, you can do sole sourcing, but it must be done in a way that you identify minimum three to five suitable contractors. You can call them up and say, hey, look, we have this project. We need you to send in a bid for this project. So that is one side of it. Or you could go out publicly and put it out there publicly. But we have noticed that this government has not been doing any tendering process. They have not been engaged in tendering. They have been going sole sourcing almost all projects, which is also very concerning. And the reason why for this project is concerning, because this is a highly technical project, meaning that you'll be working in the water and there'll be some cost. There are a lot of technical things that is related, and very few persons have expertise in doing that type of work.
Like welding underwater and that sort of thing. I know one or two guys that do it, but it's they're in high demand.
May not be welding underwater, but it is a highly technical work. So it's not as simple as straightforward as one may think it is, and it requires special equipment to work as well. So I have not heard officially from the government who is the contractor, but I'm hearing a particular name being bantered around in the community for the past couple months as to the person who has gotten the contract. That we'll probably have a conversation. If that is the case, if that has materialized, then we'll probably have a further conversation on that. So I will leave that here for now. But let's see. When the project will start, who is the contractor, if the government will say what is the cost involved in implementing this project and the timeline. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm saying this is out of concern, and I always like to go back to the issue of the Bailey Road, the main road that leads to the Princess Royal Hospital, main roadway. And that road started in April, I believe, of 2023. Yeah? Mm-hmm. April of 2023. And we're in April of 2025. And it's not completed as yet. And I think I'm not certain if work is going on right now. And and the concern is that when you have projects of that nature, which creates a lot of technical stuff and it's large in nature, it's advised that it be done a particular way so as to get the best results, to get value for your money, and to ensure that the project is implemented within a particular time frame. And in this case, because of the nature of the roadway leading to the hospital, that in itself requires some.
Hello? Hello? It seems as though the signal dropped slightly there for Senator
Sure.
Cox. Senator Cox?
Yeah.
Your,
Yes.
your signal
Yeah.
your signal
Yes.
dropped
So
well, I'm not sure if it's your signal or mine, but one of the signals dropped there for a short while. Yeah.
you're right. Yeah. So I was saying that because of the nature of the roadway, meaning that it leads to the lone hospital on the island, there must be an urgency to have it completed as quickly as possible. So that, I mean, I just give an example as to what has been happening in terms of the practices. And so we're looking to see when this jetty will start, and we do hope that it's done in a timely manner and we don't find ourselves 2-3 years out and the jetty is not completed. And hence the reason I still go back to the advice that a temporary berthing can be done in the interim while you do the major work. And that is all that they are asking. They're not expecting something you to do something fancy in overnight, but they are saying that there is a clear opportunity to do a temporary berthing in which they can use in the interim while you prepare for the more permanent remedy. I think that is reasonable. I don't see anything unreasonable about that request. And so that is what I said, and I still maintain that it can happen. It can happen. So the people of Pitimatnik still under the pressure, and of course the people of the windward side are still under the pressure of not having a proper area or an adequate or suitable area to butt between the two islands. And so it still remains, situation still remains. It's quite unfortunate. I don't know if it's because the message is coming from me. Maybe the messenger is a problem, but it's a genuine issue that the people of Pitimatnik and of course the people of the Windward area are very much concerned about. That is an issue, and I think there's a clear opportunity for it to be remedied in a very short space of time. And I implore the ministry, the government, to seek the suggestions of the people. I am just only communicating their suggestions, their recommendations. So I just think they should just follow it, So it's the ball is in their court. Sheldon, the ball is in their court.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, the people of Carriacou, the people of Pitimatnik, still have that inconvenience and, in fact, that danger of having to go the route that they're going right now to traverse between the islands. You still have the situation when people are ill, instead of just being able to come in windward in a normal way. Even if they do come in windward, now you basically have to take out the person from the boat in the water to try to get them to an ambulance and so on. They could still come in, but you have to take them out in the water. You have to go into the water and take them off the boat to bring them in. So it's still an inconvenience. A pregnant mother about to give birth need to be rushed to Carriacou. And you have these situations taking place, plus the school children who have to go through this situation on a daily basis. So it's not just, for those who might be listening, it's not just a matter of, you say you're going and build a jetty and you didn't build it. It is the situation that the people who are living in Pitimatnik are facing because of that. Remember, these are people that are already traumatized by what took place with Hurricane Beryl. And now to add to the trouble that they're going through, the psychological stress, the emotional stress that they're going through, they have to deal with something that you could have sorted out already.
Certainly. And, there's another issue, because some persons, they will not go to Hillsborough because disembarking from the boat in Hillsborough, for some persons, they just can't do it. It's difficult for the elderlies.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a challenge. I know there are persons who tell me, based on how the weather look, they ain't coming to Carriacou. They have to reschedule their trip because, it's too windy outside. If it's just between the two islands right there, they will take a chance. But they don't want to, and so I don't understand why, what's the delay, what is the issue. I don't know if it's an issue of cost. I don't know, but that is something. But it shouldn't be, because there are things that I'm seeing that they're spending money on right now, which is not urgent in terms of needs for the people, which those funds could be directed to doing a temporary jetty, which doesn't really amount to the amount of monies that we're hearing that they're spending for moving garbage and demolishing place, loads of hundreds of thousands of dollars we're hearing. So I just think that is a very, very vexing issue that should be given some attention as quickly as possible to just appease the people of Peter Martinique in particular. I must indicate that. And while we on Peter Martinique, I just want to say that when I visited there last week, the health center has been relocated to the welcome center.
No, so right, they're listening to us then, because we spoke about that the last time.
Yeah, so they have relocated, and so it's much more comfortable, much more suitable for persons. So persons have indicated that they're much more comfortable with where they are, but still no work has been done on the clinic as yet. So, but they are comfortable and they're operating. So that is quite a better situation. And it's always just saying, and look, we come back and indicating that, look, it has been resolved. So it's the same cry that we're making for the issue of the jetty and transportation between Peter Martinique and Carriacou. Sheldon.
Let me ask here, as we on Peter Martinique, a place that is always close to my heart, and as I say, I have family there too. Have any houses been completed in Peter Martinique? Build Back Better houses, prefab houses, houses that were constructed by the government in any form or format. Have any houses been completed on the island of Peter Martinique, as far as you know? Maybe they'll finish it today, we don't know.
Simple no, Sheldon. And from where the houses were, I think there are 5 Build Back Better houses under construction. That's what from their reports. And from what I'm seeing, from last week to this week, certainly they can't finish it by this week. They cannot. So.
But we were told initially that these houses would take 3 weeks to build. That's what we were told, And I'm seeing one of my good friends online here saying no houses have been completed, and they're in, from that surname, they're in Peter Martinique. So, and they're saying straight up no. Yeah.
Yeah, no houses. And I understand the intention of the government in terms of wanting to complete those houses in a particular time frame. But you have to remember, if you don't plan for those things properly, you don't plan for certain scenarios. Remember, it's a project, and projects are dynamics. They're dynamic. There are always things that are going to pop up, and so I don't think that they have really planned for it. A lot of what is taking place in terms of housing, and we could dovetail into the whole issue of housing, because it's one of the frontal issues facing Carriacouans right now, housing. So, and Peter Martiniquans, of course, there are still persons who are dealing with tents. So I think it is what it is, and so it is a challenge for residents. And it is the frontal issues, one of the biggest issues that is facing persons right now on both islands. And so it goes right back to my original point, is that a lot of what is taking place is ad hoc. It's not properly planned. A lot of the houses, and what we are seeing now, based on who are the recipients, it is clear that a particular political preference, they are basically choosing their people to give better, Build Back Better houses. It's unfortunate in the sense that there are a number of persons who have received a house or earmarked to receive a house, from what we're hearing, hadn't have a home before, and there are persons who had houses, lost the house, have not, in some cases, have not even received material support, and in some cases have not been given any indication that they're to receive a home. And that is not from me. Even as recent as today, I was out in a particular community today, and those were the sentiments that were echoed from persons. And it's, and you try your best to comfort them, to console them, to give them hope, that some redress. And in some cases, one particular individual said to me that they have submitted a request for material support on two separate occasions, almost over the past, well, from the time they were giving support for material, and they have not received anything as yet. But they could have speak to somebody who in the past 2 weeks would have submitted for the first time and already received support. So I don't know if it's deliberate or it's the system that is not properly organized within the ministry to deal with that put persons at an advantage over the other persons who have been waiting on the list for quite some time, that somebody else could just quickly get approved ahead of the other person. We live in a small community, and persons are going to be aggrieved once they learn that they are being denied support after applying for so long, or even more than once, and persons knowing that persons who just applied receive support. There's also disparity in the degree of support, in the sense that some persons are handpicked and given in excess of maybe 50, 60, $70,000 in support, as against other persons who might receive 10, 12, or 15,000 in support. I don't know if there is a clear justification or a system in place that warrants that, but based on the feedback from persons who are intimately involved with the information of those instances, it doesn't seem that is the case. We're hearing reports of persons who are working, have a reasonably decent job, never had a house, and they are earmarked to receive a Build Back Better. So that is the situation that is evolving now. It's really creating some stir among residents.
So let me ask a question here, Senator Cox, as you mentioned this. Is there no bipartisan committee existing on the island of Carriacou that may include, for instance, the churches, the church heads and so on, or representatives of the churches? You mentioned earlier the Anglican Church and the Catholic Church. A representative of both churches or of the church community. Somebody from the GUT, for instance, the Grenada Union of Teachers, just to open it out. A fisherman, different people, like a committee that meets, looks at applications and says, okay, we're going on based on need here, we're going here, here, here. Is it a situation that there's just this arbitrary sort of thing taking place in the ministry, that somebody just get up and say, we gain that one house, that one, that one, that one, that one? What is taking place?
That's basically what is happening. I mean, it's unfortunate, and sometimes it pains me, Sheldon. I'm in a situation where, as a Carriacou and also being in politics and being on the opposition side, you have a responsibility to speak about certain things, but it kind of pains me at times to speak up with it, to know that it is actually happening here, and that is the difficulty. I think that is a responsibility that we have to contend with when you're placed in this position. And I mean, I've said it over and over that there are no real numbers. The ministry cannot and has not been able to give any real numbers, real data as to what the damage degree, how much persons, where they're located. I mean, in this day and age, we could even quickly do georeference. So you could just probably stay at your office and locate person, pinpoint person geographically from a GPS standpoint where they are. And so there are plenty of ways that it could have been done. But I think, as I say, the planning was really, really, it was not, it was a lot of rush. And you know what is unfortunate? I met a sibling of uh, a family member of somebody who had lost their house. And the person spoke to one of the key people um, of the operators, political operators for the representative up here. And they spoke to the individual and said, look, when am I, when are you guys going to give some support to a senior person, a family member who has lost their home? And the person replied that, nah, we ain't sure that person put in first, so we ain't know if they'll get a home, they're going to wait. And, those are some of the feedback that you're hearing. It's really unfortunate. It's very sad that is the direction in which things are going. Persons are specifically targeted because of the perceived political preference, and it's very unfortunate in a time of crisis. This is not normal time, and so I don't know what you stand to achieve by doing that. And Carriacou is so close, closely knitted, close family ties. Sometimes when you think you're dealing with a person because of politics, you also might be hurting a family member for support of yours. So I am lost. I really don't get it. I don't understand. I don't see any benefit in what is being done, neither politically or neither for Carriacouans, based on how things are being done. And so I think there's a clear opportunity for them to change course. And so I really do hope that it takes stock, take some stock, and come back and do it much better. Because really and truly, persons are really, really, really hurting based on how this response in terms of the housing is been done. I did heard sometime today that they're planning to deliver some Build Back Better maybe between now and the weekend in Carriacou. I'm not sure how much, maybe up to 3 or 4, whatever the case. I'm not certain. But
we're
for
supposed to have 200, man. We're talking about 3 and 4. We're supposed to have 200 by now. Well, by now we should have been going to 5 or 600. If 200 was by December.
I just spoke about that. I recall in the budget debate when my colleague on the other side, Senator the Honorable David Andrew, stand and said, that's just in March when we had the budget, that they never said that they're going to build 500 houses in a year or a month or whatever. They never said so. I mean, I was like, I could not believe. My jaw dropped when I heard him say that. I'm telling you, my jaw dropped when that has been a constant political policy of them from the earlies, that they're going to build 500 houses per year. Then they move it to 500 per term when they realized that it was unrealistic.
At one point, you could even have said that they were saying 500 per constituency per year. Because how they were selling it, because they were so desperate at the point in time, it's how they were selling it. It came across as 500 per constituency per year. So, I mean, this is, goodness. But we'll deal with that with the goodly senator and that statement tomorrow night. We do have the clips, so we will deal with him tomorrow night on that particular one. But I want to zero in here on the Dumfries location. I want to zero in on the latest set of houses placed in Dumfries, and even the other houses that were placed there before that were donated by the Trinidadian company. Now, in first of all, am I correct in saying that the last set of houses were bought by the government of Grenada? Are they donated or are they bought by the government of Grenada? I seem to see information that indicated them being bought by the government. What is the situation with those?
That is what we are also gathering from reports from the government. Even before the houses came, there were clear utterances in Parliament and also in the public space, that those houses were supposed to be 200 houses, as far as the announcement I can recall. 200 of those prefab houses were to be purchased for Carriacou and Pitimatnik. To date, I think only 5 or so have arrived on island. I stand corrected. Yeah, that is what I could read. I think about 5 that is on island. And those houses, learned as recent as 2 or 3 days ago, those houses are to be sold. I stand corrected again.
So, these prefab houses that they put in the labas was the geezer that called. Oh, good bloke, he said. In the tip, in the British way, the tip. But in the dumpy, the labas. These houses that are being placed basically on top of the labas. You're saying that these houses are going to be sold, they're not going to be given to some of the people that with tent and so right now still? They're going to be sold to them?
I spoke with somebody who had consulted with the parliamentary, the constituency office of the parliamentary representative, and they were told that there is an expectation for persons to pay something for those last set of houses. I didn't get any figures to how much or terms and conditions how it's going to be done. But the idea is for some payment to be rendered for persons who are going to occupy those ones that the government has purchased. So I'm just saying what I was told. I stand corrected. If the government has a different approach on it, then they will say. But that is what I was told.
My goodness. Folks, we're speaking here with Senator the Honorable Nolan Cox out of Carriacou and Pitimatnik. We're putting a Pitimatnik to your right there, watching over them. You could swim across. Pitimatnik, and we're speaking about some of the situations taking place in Carriacou and Pitimatnik right now, and we're on the issue of the prefab houses. The location that the prefab houses are, from all photos that I've seen, all indications, they are mere meters away from the dump heap. The flies, the rodents, the smell.
Sheldon, let me just say, the first set of houses, yeah? And that was from the NGO or the Trinidad, the Hands of Surf, right? They were placed farther away from the heap, from the dump, and I still find that probably they could have found a different location. The last set is even placed much closer. So I'm really, really lost. I mean, in how you could make that decision. I don't know.
Let me ask, are lands available in Carriacou that they could have used alternatively?
Government have ample lands. Those houses could probably even go closer to the existing Chinese development home. They could even go closer. I don't know. As I said, I'm lost, and I'm yet to hear a clear justification for placing the house within striking distance of the. I'm yet to hear any good justification for that. So,
Senator Cox, as a youth, in my early days up until I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I grew up in a part of Trinidad that was that close to a dump heap. No, not in the Beatum. It was in the southern part of Trinidad. That close to a dump heap. You don't want to be living that close to a dump heap, to an active dump heap. The flies are relentless. You will have insect infestation. The scent will be there and overbearing. It is not a situation that you should place any human being. I know it because I've lived it. I'm not speaking as someone here who does not know. I'm speaking as someone who, up till the age of about 7 or 8, lived in a similar situation, that close to a landfill. And it is not a situation that you put human beings into, not willingly.
Yeah. So I don't know. As I said, I'm really lost as to the real reasoning behind that. How a decision like that could be made. I just don't. I cannot. I don't know. I really don't know.
Let me ask this one though: water, the amenities for the people who are there. How are these the latest houses? How are they going to capture water? Because you realize they have flat roofs. The roof is flat. There's nothing there in place for capturing rain. And even if you're capturing rainwater, with the fumes and the dust and the other stuff coming out from the dump heap, going onto your roof, that's not water you want to use for anything. So, what is the situation regarding water for the folks in that new housing development that's being done there?
Well, firstly, that issue with the homes I pointed out, that issue in terms of not having a canopy to catch water, so I am thinking that, and I did suggest it, that they could have the manufacturers of the house fabricate a roof, so they could install it on those units so that they can catch water. But also, I think there is some hope in the sense that the water from the Nawasa distribution line is not very far away, so they can extend the distribution network from the Nawasa desalination plant that could go to those homes. So I think that for me, that is a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. That can help bring some redress. And I did make a suggestion. So I'm not just criticizing, but I'm also rendering likely solutions that is there that they can adapt and take up right away to help resolve some of the issues that are affecting persons. And I, from what I recall from my last visit there, they do not have electricity in proximity of the homes as yet.
So there's still no electricity. Is anyone living in those houses? The first set, for instance.
Yes, there are a couple of families there. Yes, I had an opportunity.
They have electricity, or they're using solar power. What is the situation with them?
They're using solar power. No electricity as yet.
My goodness.
Yeah. So it's
from,
still a bit.
From the photos, we can see power lines. Well, the poles at least. I don't know if it's electricity or so. You see them running at the base, at the bottom of the landfill. But in fact, right at the side of the landfill, we can see poles in those photos. But they haven't brought it up the hill.
Well, they haven't brought it up the hill. I'm not certain what is the hold up there. I haven't heard anything. Yeah.
So you're dumping people in a dump, in a place with no water catchment, no source of water, and so on, and no electricity.
Yeah, correct.
And that's what they feel the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique deserve. That's what they believe my grandfather and my grandmother and all of them, that they struggle and die for over the years.
It's sad to say that is the situation. But also, there were two persons doing farming in that area. I'm hearing conflicting reports that notice was served. The farmer is contending that notice wasn't served, and they just clear out the farmer with the bulldozer and just clear everything out. So, and just basically evict the person who are using the land for farming purposes. That's another issue again altogether, Sheldon. So it's a number of a combination of factors and a combination of issues surrounding this. But I'm telling you, it's a serious. The whole issue is poor planning. I don't know, no vision of what I don't know. I really don't know.
Now, we saw the situation where the houses that were distributed to folks in the Dumfries housing project, the Chinese-built housing project, that those houses were taken away from those folks and sold to other people. What's the
Yes.
occupancy rate in that area? Just give us a ballpark average of what you believe the occupancy rate in that location is now.
Maybe based on the traffic that I'm seeing there, I believe maybe 10, 20%. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
still,
I
so you're saying that's still close to 80%, possibly.
possibly.
Possibly of those places
Poss-
may be empty and people living in tents still. My goodness. That's another one. That's a serious situation. And the thing is that the impression that the administration gives you, because as we were hearing a little earlier, I hadn't even realized that the British government had sent significant amounts of money to assist with Hurricane Beryl relief outside of the SIF funds that the new National Party made sure that were there. That you had
Yeah.
these funds that were sent by the British government. We know that other OECS countries sent, whether it's a million, whatever they sent, and so on. Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, they chipped in. To have a situation now where you're still seeing the people of Carriacou being left wanting in many instances. I have many people that I know personally that's still taking a little jam by somebody, they're taking a little bump by somebody because they just can't get off the ground.
Well, I was in conversation with a individual on Saturday in a particular community, and they were saying that look, after the hurricane, they went by the first person, then they kind of get thrown out in a technical way with their family. They end up by somebody else, and in a kind of in a not so comfortable environment, and so they basically bunking as you indicated, with persons, and so it's also a challenge. It's also a challenge, and I said I don't know if the ministry is keenly aware of some of the issues affecting persons out on the ground. I don't know if they may need to get a team to go out to do a follow-up assessment to see where persons are and to capture some information to see how they could better help these persons um, in going forward. It's difficult, it's difficult. One of the things that we have been doing over the past few months, we had start back heavy on is giving out assistance, labor assistance to persons, mainly on weekends. As you know, some of our folks are working during the week, and so in going out and helping. So we did some work with the farmers in Dumfries, and we have a schedule of persons who we are actually going out to give some assistance with in terms of labor, because labor can attract a pretty high cost right now. So as a party, we help in where we can, not having funds to give persons physically, but we have members who could come out who have the skill set to come out and give of the time and labor and the skills to offset some of the costs for persons. So that is one of the things that we are actually doing right now in a big way.
So let me let me ask then, for the monies that this government has received in relation to Hurricane Beryl, do you see that being reflected in the work that's taking place in Carriacou and Petit Martinique for the millions, over 100 million that this NDC administration has received from foreign governments, from SIF, from other sources? Are you seeing that being reflected on the ground in Carriacou and Petit Martinique? Or is it still a situation where families are putting together their money in New York, in Canada, 10, 15 people put together as much as possible, they put it together and build back the grandmother house, and so on? Is government really and truly being felt, and the monies that were sent being felt? One listener, I think it's Fadu, mentioned a while ago the funds that were given by DCOL in
Yes,
relation to
yes,
the Carriacou, the Petit Martinique facility.
yes, 200,000.
Right.
We haven't heard as yet regarding that.
So
So
now
I did
they've moved the health center now, but if you move it, we would think that work is starting or it's about to start, or at least basic work is starting there. Has anything started there in Petit Martinique?
nothing as yet. I'm not quite certain. I did heard from some town hall they had in the past. The Minister for Health said that they want to do oh gosh, I want to I try my best to. They wanted to do some stuff so they could do minor operations and so in, and Sheldon, one of the things that when you're planning to have a facility to offer a particular type of service, you must have the staffing to complement the services that you want to render. And for a long time, this government has not been able to sustain the level of staffing that is even required now just for the clinic to operate. I mean, I sometimes I feel it for the lone nurse who she just non-stop, 24/7 non-stop. And I'm not certain if she's getting holiday or when she took her holiday last. I mean, she is just, that's what you call a clear demonstration of human service.
Well, in this case, maybe your woman service. Your woman service.
Yeah, but I don't want to say too much because next minute she might get victimized for me commending her for doing her work. I mean, I've been stranger to.
And Senator Cox, this is a sad situation that we have to be afraid even to commend people for doing an excellent job because there's the fear of victimization. I mean, I don't fear this government. They could go to hell as far as I'm concerned. I'm not afraid of any of them. Every single one of them can be defeated and will be defeated eventually. I'm not afraid of any of them. They hold power for a while, not forever. There's a difference. So I'm not afraid of them. But it's so telling that we even have to be careful how we praise an individual because that individual may be attacked by this administration. It says a lot.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. It's very, very sad. Very sad and unfortunate. But that is what the status quo is now under this administration. That is what.
So other question now in relation to farmers on the island of Carriacou. What is the situation with farmers and farming? I saw a couple of weeks back, you and the team were assisting a farmer on his farm to set up so that he could operate properly on his farm. Part of the projects that you all have been doing. What is the latest with farmers on the island of Carriacou? You have to be a bit self-sustaining. So what is the situation with the farmers?
Well, what I do know, and I must say, some of the farmers have received support. They've received support in terms of the water tanks. In some cases, some have received support in terms of material. So I know that for a fact. Yeah. So, and I know that they are very appreciative of that support. They are trying to bring their operations back to some form of normalcy. So that is what is taking place now. Like everybody else, they also have their own challenges financially and otherwise. So hence the reason why we believe that we can give some support in terms of labor to help offset some of the costs for them and to get their operations back up as quickly as possible. But there is an outstanding matter where a number of other farmers who were earmarked to receive financial support has not received they have not received that support to this date. Some farmers and fishermen, I believe some 40 plus or 40 or 50 fishermen are still outstanding in terms of receiving their enumeration, the compensation package burial.
So what is the situation? Because this government cannot be saying they have a money problem. They got money from the UK. They got money from Canada. They got money from as far as Australia. They got money from the US. They got money from Grenadians put together and got money together and donated to the government. And plus, they had the insurance policy that the New National Party put in place. It can't be that they have a money problem. So why is it that you still have fishermen, as of the 22nd of April 2025, still waiting for assistance?
Well, so when they give out the first round of assistance, what I think what justification that was rendered at the time was that they have to wait for the budget. So, and let me further explain. And there might be some,
And that was nonsense anyway, but
not, not necessarily. And let me just bring some clarity to that, because I mean I have some, not necessarily. So even if you receive support, whether a grant or otherwise, you can spend the money up front, and you can in turn bring those monies back into the budget. All right. So you could spend beforehand. So the system allows for that. So sometimes when we do supplemental budget, sometimes some of those monies have already been spent, because sometimes it's an emergency, so you spend up front. But now you have to come back now and bring it through the budget from a legal standpoint, the money. So even if you get a grant support, it has to be brought in through the budget, through whatever
but
vote or
in an
whatever.
emergency situation, you can utilize it, but then you account for it in a supplementary or in the budget. Yeah.
Right. So what was being rendered between December and before the budget was that they are waiting for budget to read. When the budget passed, the farmers and fishermen will get their monies. So budget has been read, budget passed, approved, and so the government has a free hand to borrow as well, and raise money as it normally would, but on the securities exchange market for the purposes of function to run in government, of course. And so farmers and fishermen are keenly awaiting for that compensation. So they have not received that as yet. So that is an outstanding matter. And additionally, there are still persons who have sustained, boat owners who have sustained damages, and they have not received any compensation. And it appears that they may not receive because of certain utterances and because of perceived political preferences. They wouldn't receive those support. Unfortunately, it's somewhat sad. We continue to make a plea for those persons who, I mean, the evidence is there. The boat was damaged. The evidence is some persons, the remains of the boat is still there, and it's just so unfortunate that they have been treated in that way, knowing that funds have been raised through the insurance and otherwise through donations. You know, it's unfortunate to hear that countries who donate monies for those purposes, that persons have been denied for political reasons, one or the other, from benefiting from that support. I think that is what is most unfortunate about it.
Senator Cox, I also wanted to raise though, because while all of this is happening and the people are not receiving the money were being told we're waiting on budget and so on, the Minister of Finance during the month of January did a press conference in which he had issued a general warrant for $400 million. That was supposed to be covering things like this. So since January, a warrant, even if they didn't get the money before, there was a warrant that was issued for $400 million to fund, in his words, it was to fund the operations of government, including things like that. So there's no excuse really, for them for not providing that money to the farmers and fishermen. There's absolutely no excuse.
That is the situation at hand, and so it's. I mean, I spoke to a fisherman recently, and and he felt so hopeless, in the sense that there was some expectation that they would have received that support by now, and he doesn't believe that support will come. I tell him to be hopeful, that it will happen, because it's a need. It's a need. It's a very different dispensation for us as residents, and some of us who never experienced a hurricane of this magnitude and having to leave and in certain conditions. It's a different experience and a difficult experience for most of them. So we continue to encourage persons, stay the course. If you have difficulties dealing with some of this stuff, find a friend, find somebody who can advise you, talk to you, just to keep you calm and to help you get through it. Reach out wherever you can. Persons can reach out to myself. We may be able to give some guidance or point them in a particular direction to see how they can bring redress to the issues. Sheldon, but there are two other things that I want to speak about.
And there are two that I want to raise with you now. Let me let
Go
folks
ahead.
know before we let me just let folks know I'm going a little after 10. I ain't not to rush out from where I is, so I'm going a little after 10. So you've got the two issues, and I have two that I need to ask you about. One Carriacou related, one on the mainland, but you go right ahead.
Okay, well, you go ahead and raise them
Okay.
because sometimes it might be something. So go ahead.
Okay, but the first one I wanted to raise is the issue of psychological counseling on the island of Carriacou. Right now, if the breeze starts to blow heavy, I've heard from some of my friends in Carriacou, they are very anxious. They get a lot of anxiety. If they're sleeping and they realize some rainfall or the breeze blew a little too heavy, it takes them back to that moment when their roof went and their houses were destroyed and so on. Has the government put in place any broad-based strategy to address this psychological counseling that the people on Carriacou and Petit Martinique need? Considering that we're less than 60 days, probably just about 40 days away from the next hurricane season. Hurricane season is month after.
I cannot say that I have any knowledge of any pending plans to deal with that, but I must say that the government they have in some consistent way been providing opportunities for persons to get counseling support. So I've seen announcements on several occasions of them having the counselor for persons. So what I don't know is how subscribed it has been, whether persons have been coming forward or have they been going into the communities. I don't know how it's been done, but I do know that the Ministry of Social Development has consistently made that service available. So that is what I can attest to.
What I would say, because after Hurricane Ivan, I remember what the government did at that point in time, working together with some of the creatives and so on. You had plays, you had things that were taking place in the school with the children and so. And it would prepare them. Like, for instance, I remember my stepdaughter at the time coming home and she was doing a drawing, because one of the things that they had them doing was the role playing and the drawing in the school and so on. And she would draw a picture of what the yard looked like after Hurricane Ivan and so. So there has to be some sort of broad-based strategy in the schools for the young ones, because remember, you can imagine what would happen in a school right now if you have a set of children in a school. Rain starts to fall heavy in Carriacou and you hear thunder and lightning start. You know what's going on with those children, and even the teachers for themselves, if there's a little bit of breeze with it. The fear is still there, and you have to address it. Apart from people needing counseling and just go to a counselor, that's normal, that's one thing. But there has to be a broader based strategy aimed at the islands of Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and the northern part of Grenada that deals in a broader sense with the issue of psychological counseling. Not enough is being done.
Yeah, I do agree that there's a clear opportunity for a more structured approach, and I do hope that the Ministry of Social Development, together with the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, can use an opportunity. We are about 2 months out from, not two, just a month.
We just next week, this month ends, and then you're into May, and by the time May done, you're in hurricane season.
Hurricane season. So while you're on that, one of the issues that I wanted to raise is centered around the coming hurricane season, and that has to do with hurricane shelters and the availability of hurricane shelters. I do hope that NADMA is actually working on some plan to deal with it. I myself have been thinking about it as well and looking at possible solutions that we can implement to help deal with some of the the well, the non-existence of facility in some areas, and and to see how best we can have some alternative as the hurricane season come. And so I have been giving it some thought as well, and having some discussions with other persons, and more so to bring it as a suggestion to the government for them to look at the possibility of it taking place. And one of those things that from dialogue and what we look at as a possible option for the centers that were damaged or compromised is to maybe look at suitable homes that have downstairs, and to see what sort of a capacity and occupancy that they can absorb, and they can contact those homeowners now and kind of have them on the list as what you call supplementary shelters for this upcoming hurricane season. So that is one of the suggestions that I really wanted to put out there, and even if the government don't take up that suggestion, or that don't take it up, but also to call on persons who have suitable areas that can house persons comfortably downstairs, in particular, if we to receive a storm or hurricane during this upcoming season, to reach out and to make the space available so that persons can have especially persons who are in tents and these makeshift houses. Obviously, they cannot stay in those if a hurricane is coming. Even some of the prefab houses, I don't know. I probably wouldn't recommend persons staying in them too as well. So I just want, that's one of the suggestions I really wanted to put out there for persons, homeowners, who have a suitable place, and also for NADMA to see it as a viable option if they have not already considered it, in terms of having additional space for as supplementary or alternative shelters for this hurricane season, Sheldon. So I just wanted to put that out, because I've been thinking about it, Sheldon. Now, you have to think about it. You have to think about your people when you see the situation and when the hurricane is coming. How those persons, where they're going to go. Even if it's heavy rains, what is going to happen with them. So those are some of the real issues that we have to face. And and this really calls for serious leadership, serious leadership, proper planning, thinking, engaging competent people, having a think tank to help you in this critical time, putting all the necessary resources together to see how best that the islands can prepare themselves for a possible active hurricane season. And so so it and that is where my concern is right now. And I just wanted to make that suggestion out there, throw it out there, so we can start to prepare ourselves. And if there are other viable suggestions, I think that persons should also put them out there, so that we can benefit from it, and the government can benefit from it, or even to build on it and strengthen those suggestions, so that we can have a safe place, especially for our seniors, to house them if we are to experience a hurricane. And one of the things that we have been observing is that the hurricanes, they keep getting stronger as the years go by. So the whole of climate variation and climate change is one that is frontal, and we have to contend with it.
As you're on that particular issue, Senator, it leads to the second question I wanted to ask you, which, as I said, and I do apologize to the people in Carriacou, Petit Martinique, but I'm moving to mainland here. In particular, River Road. You were the minister in charge at the time that project was started. We've seen the dramatic, the dangerous, the deadly flooding that took place last year because that project was not completed. Again, the same entry points that the water used before, they are still open and available as we speak today. No work has taken place. The bridge situation has not been rectified. Not a single nail or piece of steel has been moved on that River Road project? Your recommendations to the government, because we are, for want of a better thing, we're heading back into the rainy season, it seems as already, and we're heading back into the storm season, where we could find ourselves in a situation that once again, River Road is flooded, the people of River Road and those that utilize that area are affected negatively. And the people that lost their vehicle in the stadium, you could find
Yeah,
that situation taking place again. And the
yeah,
people on River Road itself. Your
yeah.
recommendations to the
And
government, what could possibly be the hold up in putting two bridges? And they said they secured the bridges already. What could possibly be the hold up?
from what I do know, those packages were tendered, and I think um, somebody would have won those tenders if I could recall. I reserve myself for correction on that. But I was informed that those packages were tendered, persons bid, and somebody emerged as the most suitable or appropriate contractor. But nothing has moved forward at all on that project. And the work needs to be completed. Um, it really needs to be completed, because what we see happening is that the two bridges in particular, they themselves are basically obstacles in the river. And so when the water level rises, they now cause the water to be diverted and creating more issues in the surrounding areas. And we have seen that the walls actually work. They are working. And so if it's a situation where it wasn't working, then then we probably would have to rethink on our approach to how do we remedy it. But it's actually working. Although there was some suggestions during the campaign that they're gonna knock down the walls because they're blocking the beauty of the river and all kind of stuff. So a lot of work, hydrological work, have gone into the design of the mitigation work. That flood mitigation design would have gone into that, going back, looking at rainfall patterns for maybe as far as 30 years. Also capturing rainfall data from surrounding areas, St. Vincent, those islands are close to us that will have similar rainfall in terms of precipitation amount. And so a lot of work has gone into that in terms of going forward and looking at the possibility of increasing rainfall levels as well. So that is how those designs are actually drawn up, not just for now, but looking futuristic as well. So the government really needs to complete the work, so to mitigate the impact of the flooding for residents in that area. And so I think the designs are there. They have the designs.
Well, we'll say this: if it floods again, and anything takes place untoward, anybody loses their vehicle, etc., we hope nobody loses their life or is injured. It is fully, totally, and wholly at the feet of this administration. It's at their feet. They had a full, how much months of dry weather to deal with it, low water levels in the river. They never dealt with it. So it's fully at their feet.
And that's what governance is about, dealing with the issues that matter, dealing with the issues that affect people, especially something as critical as that. And we have a leadership voice in terms of climate change mitigation and action. So I think there's a clear opportunity for us. And that project in itself was highlighted on the international scene in terms of greater response to climate change. So I don't understand what's the hold up with it, why it has not continued. And as you say, the government has indicated record revenues from CBI. So I think that and they have already always said that money is not an issue. They have monies. So I don't know what is the reason for them not implementing that project. That's a very important project for the community of River Road. So I'm at a loss.
That was my final question. I know you had one other issue you wanted to raise before we end tonight's program.
I'm not certain if I did spoke about it in detail, but the issue of water is still frontal for Carriacouans, in particular water for potable water for living and everyday household use is an issue. Last time when we spoke, I think I did some posting in that regard. Currently, the plant is down for mechanical failure. I know that NASA is working. I must say that I know that they are working feverishly to get the plant up and running. I think I saw on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, they receive some part for the plant. I don't know if that is the only one, if there's standing parts to come, but I know that they're working to try to get the plant up back.
So the plant has been down. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. So the plant has been down for a period of time.
It has been done probably for the past week and some, almost 2 weeks now. It has been done.
But
And
isn't some strategy being put in place for a backup in cases where the plant goes down and so? Because especially in the case, for instance, if you are supplying water to the people in Dumfries in the prefab houses, you can't very well for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks tell them that the plant is down, we don't have water. Isn't some sort of backup being put in place? Not necessarily by NOASA, but at least that government is looking at some sort of backup plan?
I haven't seen any specific or dedicated response to that regard from the government in particular, the ministry per se. But what I must say is that God has been good to us. We have been receiving some intermittent showers in between. So persons who do have some sort of a catchment, they fortunately they would have catch some water, hopefully, over the past couple weeks. So that in itself is a positive. I mean, it's something that everybody is concerned about, and that is not this issue is not anything. It's not a political one. It transcends across parties. It's just an issue because it's not that we've never had dry season before. It's just that this one is different in the sense, and this one is more concerning because we have less catchments, less houses with roof, and it's creating a very
shortage.
issue. Yes, serious.
And
shortage.
I'm just seeing here from one of our listeners out there in Carriacou. She's saying that what NOASA did is they borrowed the part from the plant in Petit Martinique to bring it down to Carriacou so they could provide some water in Carriacou, and now they have to bring it back to Petit Martinique. I mean, this is craziness, man. Absolute madness.
So it probably be a pump, pump that went bad. One of the main pump, because the part that I saw that I knew that they're working furiously because the part came up on the plane, and so to come up on the plane, it shows that there is some urgency on their part. I must give them that.
Well, NOASA does what they have to do, but if you don't have the proper guidance to them, then I mean,
yeah. So they may have they're probably actually installing. If it's a new part and it's on warranty and things like that, then there are certain things that you have to do. They may not be able to run it full out right away. You have to increase the hours incrementally for obvious reasons. So, but I've seen that they got that part. So I'm happy that at least some movement is taking place on that ends, because persons have been calling even today. Persons reaching out to me asking if I know where they can get water, and so it's a major issue for us. And I've been checking persons to see how they are coping with it. I mean, we have a lot of experience on island dealing with scarcity of water. That has been the story for our lives. But this one is a lot more unique and different. I think where my main concern lies is if the dry period is prolonged in any way also. While some person getting wet, I think they wouldn't mind taking a little wet to catch some water at all. But the challenge is if we do have an extended dry season, which we're praying and hoping that is not the case. That at least you give persons more time to get the roof and thing back up. But we're hoping that it's not as prolonged dry period. We really, really hoping. Sheldon, I'm telling you, that is not something that we really, really want to experience right now. We're hoping that the rainy season can come in as normal when it's supposed to, and we get rains and things like that. But if we do have an extended dry period, we do hope that now would at least respond in a timely manner to help seek to remedy this, because we on edge, we on edge.
Yes, sir. So I just realized the time. So let's just take your final statement, Senator Cox. We will be having you on soon again, because there's some other issues that we need to speak about. We need to speak about the Woburn Cliff project and one or two other things that we didn't get a chance to speak about tonight. So we will speak about that on another occasion. So any closing words to the people south side as well as Carriacou, because south side, I knew if you're south side, they'll hear you.
I mean, I am so fortunate to be given an opportunity to serve in this capacity, and I'm feeling very compelled to do so at this point in time. It's something that I want to do now, and I'm happy to be able to be in that space and to be part of an organization where I can offer my support, services, ideas to nation building. So, I mean, very few people get an opportunity to do so, and I'm very, very happy to be able to do that. And that is what I feel comfortable doing at this point in time, until such time. As the deputy political leader of the National Party, I'm also really happy to be part of the organization and to commend my political leader on the work that she's doing. She's one of the hardest workers I've ever had to contend with, and she holds you to schedule and to make sure things are delivered. And so I want to say I'm happy to be able to associate with her and to work with her as we move forward and get an opportunity to continue to build Carriacou, Grenada, Pidimatnik, for the betterment. And we have a shared consensus that it doesn't matter where we sit. We believe that we can give support, we can lead, even from our position wherever we can. And so that is the reason why you'll always hear me giving suggestions as to how some of those issues can be addressed. And so it's not to just critique, but to raise it as an awareness for the government of the day to look at it in honest and see how we can address that. I just want to also heal up persons in the diaspora. And they have been good in terms of supporting and giving suggestions and advice, and their contribution towards development of Carriacou and Pidimatnik is invaluable. And I know sometimes they believe and felt that they have been neglected, but I just wanted to let them know that their contributions are invaluable, and we want them to continue to support our island's development in whatever way that they can as we try to recover from this hurricane. So, Sheldon, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Yes, indeed.
To address the general public and to let them know that I'm here to serve, and I'm doing it with a willing heart. And I've been doing this for some time. Sometimes when I reflect back on my contribution as a public servant, and when you engage persons, you feel so satisfied. Sometimes I don't even remember some of the impacts and ways that you would have impacted persons' lives. Just sitting with somebody was telling me about it, and when they spoke, that's when I remembered. So it's very satisfying for me, and I'm very, 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 very hopeful that whatever engagements, whatever feedback that I give can make a difference in someone's life. Thank you, Sheldon. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so very much, Senator Cox. You have a wonderful night tonight.
All right, later. Take care.
Indeed.
All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes, folks, we were speaking there with Senator, the Honorable Nolan Cox. Quite a lot of information. That's why I got to stop doing those kind of interviews from like 8:30. I got to start them from 8 itself because we could go for another whole half hour again with the amount of information that and things that we have to speak about. Sad situation for the people out there in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I am more than concerned about the situation, the issues that they're facing, the housing issue, the water issue, saying that you have a lot of employment on the island in the building, and not everybody are builders, not everybody construction. So even if you're searching for people to do that and you can't find them, there are people who don't do construction. So using that as a measuring stick to say that things are so good on the island of Carriacou, there are people that can't do it, and there are people that don't know how to do it, etc. So they're not involved in that industry. Yeah, you may have electricians and so who are busy from moon to moon. They're busy, but there are other people that can't. Then there's the situation with the water and the need for water. We can survive with a lot of things, without a lot of things. Water is not one of them. Human beings need water to survive. It's one of the most basic. We are mostly made up of it. It's one of the most basic things that you need. That issue has to be addressed and addressed properly. So the housing issue, the water issue, and again, for me personally, and let me say a special happy birthday to you as we leave, Dr. Augustine Panchu. No, today's your birthday, April, man. Happy birthday to you, sir. Yeah, the psychological aspect. I know what I saw after Hurricane Ivan with a lot of people in Grenada. You get angry and you don't even know why you're angry. And all of it could have been connected back to Ivan. And the programs that were done to deal with that in the school and other places, no such thing even conceptualized for the islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Folks, it's a serious situation. That's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you, and everything you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. I wonder which one I'm going out with. Let me go out with this one tonight, man. Yeah. Since we're in Carriacou, let me go out with Carriacou. Yeah.
Traditions. It is amazing how throughout the years the culture has evolved, and today we see most kayaks are involved.